In this video I will show you a little glitch with shulkers and use that glitch as an excuse to talk about entities with undefined coordinates for no reason, because it's possible to get Shulker Bullets to undefined coordinates because they didn't care about divisions by zero in their code, and you can mess them up with some weird calculations apparently. I mean, I don't have the code, but I just think they forget to catch some things. Anyway, you can get multiple shulkers into the same position by putting them on the same block, and since they're entities, they don't have any problems with that. And if they then try to shoot you, they will just shoot each other, and then they will be aggressive at each other. So right here, there's still one or two shulkers shooting the other shulkers, but they will have a hard time shooting bullets because the shulkers are in the same position, so they don't know in which direction they should shoot, because there's not really a direction they should shoot in. They shoot just nowhere, and when they shoot in no direction, the Shulker Bullets get undefined coordinates, and with the undefined coordinates, the Shulker Bullets are basically everywhere in the entire section, 16 by 16 section at once. So for example, these Shulker Bullets now press this pressure plate because they are everywhere at once, but if I go outside the chunk, they should no longer reach it. I think I'm in a different chunk here. Yeah, right here they don't reach it, but in the same chunk they press all pressure plates at once basically. And this is just an interesting glitch because right now we can only get arrows into undefined coordinates as far as I know. Now we have a second entity which we can get into undefined coordinates. Another interesting thing is that if you push them with a piston, they will be pushed to 0, 0. That's something Test showed in one of his videos. Right here we have 0, 0, and you can see all the Shulker Bullets teleported over here. They are still in undefined positions, and they will now press everything in this section. If you give it an entity update, you need to update the pressure plate with an entity collision checks, otherwise it won't care about being pressed by these things, because these don't tell every block to update in this entire chunk. They just press the pressure plate. And now I just want to talk about entities in undefined coordinates and just do some tests with different entities. So the other entity we can get into undefined coordinates is the arrow. Right here you see we have the arrow. If we get anywhere near this section, we will pick up the arrow, and this is the other entity we can get into undefined coordinate by shooting it into a pressure plate. And I just want to do some tests. Right here we have a command block which will teleport any entity which is inside here to an arrow. So if we put an arrow at undefined coordinates, when teleport the creeper over here, we can test how creepers at undefined coordinates behave. For example, I can't place any blocks here now because they would collide with the creeper, and if there's a creeper standing somewhere, you can't place blocks here. So that's something interesting. And yeah, this is not survival friendly, but it's interesting enough to be in a video, I think. It's normally also very hard to kill entities at undefined coordinates because it's not enough for you to just hit them. Let's teleport a chicken. So the chicken doesn't really have an hitbox, but what's very interesting is that ocelots can manage to kill the chicken even because they have a very weird kind of attack. And I just picked up everything the chicken dropped because everything the chicken dropped was also at undefined coordinates. Next thing that's interesting is the boat, because you can stand on boats, and boats can be a wall, and now I can't get into this chunk because there's a boat right there, and I can't get through the boat, but I can still push myself into the chunk, and now I'm inside the chunk. even though there's a boat right here. And there's something even more interesting with boats, and that is if I sit on the boat, I will get into some kind of ghost modes where my server position is at undefined coordinates and my client position is still at valid coordinates, so I can walk around. Then basically my server position is glitched out, but my client position isn't. The interesting thing is that in this state I can still interact with the world, because I'm basically everywhere at once. I can destroy blocks, and for some reason pistons don't animate correctly, and server client communication is completely messed up anyway, and I can't place blocks for some reason, but I can still break blocks, and ghost blocks generators don't work. So that's kind of an interesting kind of ghost mode, that you can still break blocks if your server position is at undefined coordinates, and I just thought these were some interesting things. And now we have two entities which we can get to undefined coordinates in survival, the Eario and the Shulker Bullet, and if we can get even more entities to undefined coordinates, we might be able to do some of the cool things also in survival. And it would be really interesting to get any kind of mob which blocks certain things into undefined coordinates, so that's something we could try. But that's everything. I just wanted to show you some random useless glitches. Bye.